So I've decided that every now and then, primarily on the weekends, I'll upload a video that is purely for fun and sort of lighthearted to work on. The other week my fans had me talking about which champions I feel have the best designs, not really gameplay wise, but characterization wise. What that means is how a champion's personality theme is built upon by their appearance, abilities, traits, and so on. Some characters in League fall absolutely flat and some are very well done. I'll go out and admit that most of League's characters, ignoring the original cast, is well personified. I'll be giving it a purely opinion list on the characters I feel are personified best by their qualities and a couple of champions who are utter duds. Aside from one character, I'll be avoiding the original release champions unless they have received a complete rework, since most of those champions were created with very low standards. Remember, this is purely for fun and I encourage you to gush about any champions you feel are best personified in the comments below. The first one up is Jace, who is only placed last on this list because Riot hasn't done shit with him in a long time. In short, he was probably one of League's last straight out cartoon characters before the departure into doing whatever they're doing now. Jace is portrayed as the superhero trope, the do-gooder fight for justice type, and everything about him supports this marvelously. First off, his appearance is clean, slick with a very modern, at least for League, attire, and he's very regal. He stands confidently with a smirk and a look of action about him. What makes this better is when you take into account his lore. In Too Long Didn't Read fashion, he was a young inventor who discovered how to harness a potent power source which was then stolen by Victor. His leaders were too pussy to go after Victor, so Jace wasn't having any of that shit, and so he geared himself for battle by inventing his hammer weapon and confronting Victor. After a grueling battle, he returned a hero. The best part of all of this is that he loves being a hero. He likes being the good guy and fighting the good fight, and that shows. Jace's voice lines showcase his assured cockiness while also carrying that cliche Superman feels. It's like at any moment he's going to turn to the camera and say, "Hey kids, don't do drugs." A fun fact for Jace is that my female fans voted Jace as the most attractive of all the male heroes in League. They described him as a confident eye candy that would be your Superman hubby. If he can get that kind of response, then I figure Riot truly succeeded in catching the hero persona. Next up is Leblanc, who came out during a time when Riot was heavily criticized for its super slutty characters. Leblanc was yet another super slutty character, but was created so that actually made sense and added to her character. She's a mage that is looking to trick and manipulate you, so giving you a boner and distracting you with her tits helps accomplish this. The lore makes this better when you realize that it alludes to the fact that she's old, so she's probably just some ugly old wench at this point. If that's true and she uses magic to look attractive, then that means it is serving a purpose for her. Her kit is obviously tricky and frustrating, and her lines are spoken in a way to evoke rage. On a similar note, misfortune is done so poorly it's almost insulting. Her old lore was improved and evolved with her new one, but Riot never bothered to fix her personality issues. Her lore describes her as cunning, intelligent, and brave, but her in-game quotes, abilities, and appearance justify this. She's often used as the worst example of Riot's pointless over-sexualization, since her character could be described as simply tits with guns. Now for one of the most manly champions in the game. Before some of you immediately dismiss this, remember that this is about being personified well. Darius is described as a no-nonsense warrior who will tear your ass in half if he was ordered to, and he wouldn't be gentle or clean about it. He's the frontline warrior who gives no shits about pleasantries and that sort of tripe. Appearance-wise, he's given nothing but a scowling look in all his splash arts in a way that only shows fervor and battle fury. His armor is intimidating, worn, and rugged, and clearly shows signs of battle abuse. This obviously showcases that he gets in there and fucks shit up and can take a beating too. His weapon alone shows this heavily as well. He wields a damn battle axe with one hand when he's going for quick and precise blows, but wields it with two hands so he can throw all his strength behind it and pulverize you to dust. His quotes easily build upon this as well. Just listen to his laugh and tell me that isn't one of the more unique ones in the game. He simply goes, "Ha," and that's it. Jokes aside, all his quotes are basically just about going in there and destroying you and doing his job. Personally, he's one of my favorite because he just feels like that guy who's going in there to fuck shit up. If you get in a fight with him, he'll punch you with his fist, he'll headbutt you, he'll bite you. If you knock him down, he'll go for a low blow and punch you in the dick. He'll do whatever he needs in order to win the fight. Sion and Urgot will be put together on this list since they're very similar and equally well done. They are both haggard-ass zombies who are stitched up with experimental technology and necromancy. Basically, Noxus was like, fuck it, these two are badasses, let's try to put them back together. Scion and Urgot just oozed the stitched up abomination theme so well. They both move in perfectly with twitching, limping, and jagged movements, and their voice modulation showcases how even their voices got fucked up. Both of them share similar quotes expressing how they're in so much agony, how they feel so much frustration, and how they're both trying to remember things before they were butchered. They were both described as basically just soldiers in their respective lore, but now as zombies they've been given a power source to sustain their unnatural selves. Scion a soul furnace and Urgot some power plant inside of him. They continue to fight for Noxus because it's the only thing keeping them from going truly insane. When you play them or when you see them, you can see this unbridled rage and agony. They're so well done. They're so depressing and dark. They're metal as fuck. As far as bad ones go, Shakos is truly terrible. I know he's one of the original champions, but hear me out on this one. Yes, he's a psycho clown, and yes, he looks insane and has his evil laugh and shit. The problem with all that is that it's only really enhanced or made as widely appreciated by fans because it is just a reference to the Joker. Shakos' personification is enhanced and made possible only really by that association to the Joker. We can't have this list without the one character designed to have this nailed down. Draven is the epitome of narcissistic douchebag and everything about him enhances this. His lore puts him down as an executioner who puts on a show for the masses in order to get famous. Instead of doing his job properly, he makes it an event out of the death of someone else to propel himself into stardom. First off, his appearance is attention-grabbing. He has a Fu Manchu mustache, he has long weird-ass hair, tattoos, piercings, and basically anything to get attention. His weapon alone is literally an unwieldy piece of shit that he makes work simply because he knows it's cool. He could use anything else and get better results, but he'll do it this way for the fame and fortune. I don't even have to mention how stupidly cocky his damn lines are and how much of an asshole he is. One thing I do want to point out is his stance and movement. He stands looking down on his opponents, basically exhibiting this "I'm better than you" feeling already, and walks casually around as if strutting to keep his image. In an actual life or death situation, you wouldn't stand or walk like that because it's not bad already, but he'd rather be famous than fight properly. Now, my personal favorite is Orianna. She's just so depressing and creepy. A quick too-long dinner read of her lore is that she was a girl who was fascinated by the League of Legends, that one thing that Riot retconned out of existence, and died doing dumb shit. Her father, who really loved her, recreated her in the form of a puppet. He programmed her with the desire to become a champion, and that caused her to become a murderous abomination. Basically, she is a highly imperfect recreation of the original Orianna, with all her old desires exaggerated so much that it made her into a monster. She's made to look like one of those music box ballerinas, and all her movements are basically clockwork. There is simply nothing human about her from her appearance, movements, and voice. The voice is modulated to be robotic, but best of all, some of the sound bites, mostly the laugh, are made to sound as if they were recordings of the original Orianna that her father just inserted in order to give his humorless creation a laugh. All her attacks also have very dull sounds and very short sounds. Just listen to her auto attacks and hear the quiet but cold clinks. Everything about her is supposed to portray this cold, empty feeling, and man did they do it right. Alongside being a recreation of his daughter, Puppet Orianna is basically the incarnation of the sadness, regret, and loneliness of the father. Riot tries to do some dark and edgy shit now, but they had it right with Orianna. Alrighty guys, I've restarted my Teespring campaign and my voice check t-shirts are once again available. Click the link in the description below to take a good look at them and decide if you want to obtain one for yourself. My channel is made possible by the help of sponsors like Loot Crate and Crunchyroll and the continued support of fans like you. Click the links in the description below to check out my sponsors and make sure to give a like and leave a comment below to help stimulate the growth of the channel.